Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. My name is Donald Patak. I'm your astrologer. It's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and no, my videos may not be used, nor may my ratings either be used to train AI LLMs. Okay, the cats are playing. Keys to the reading, because I do read astrology a little bit differently. I read constellation-based astrology, sometimes known as true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky, which is how the ancients used to read it. And where is the planet in the sky? Read it there. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons over almost 2,000 years ago. As opposed to the visible sky, where not only do the planets move, but the constellations also move very slowly as well. It's how we arrive at our astrological ages. And using the visible sky, there are also 13 signs. Between Scorpio and Sagittarius, there is a sign it's missing. It's called the Fucus. It's the symbol of the wounded healer. The constellation is of a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. Snake symbolized knowledge in the ancient world. So when you're holding it by the head and the tail, you're controlling knowledge, you're using knowledge. And the mythos is that he was to use that knowledge to heal himself so he could heal others with similar wounds. I also use the natural size of the constellations because Mother Nature in her wisdom made them all different sizes. Virgo is huge at just under 50 degrees. Libra, Scorpio, Fucus, Cancer, and Aries. Individually, each one of them is less than 25 degrees. The constellations vary in sizes, and I respect that. And following the research of Athens Shementi, I use astrological midpoints. He noted that when he was checking the IAU boundaries, which are arbitrarily drawn, he found that, for example, between Scorpio and Fucus, there were stars of Scorpio actually on the Fucus side of the IAU boundary. So what he did was he looked at the zodiac belt, last bright star of Scorpio, first bright star of Fucus. Where's the midpoint? And he went with it. And he did that with all the constellations. So I like it. I think it's more accurate. Keys to the reading, part 2. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says, yes, these transits are happening. You are fated to face them. However, these are lessons to learn, and you have freedom of choice. You get to decide how you're going to work with these energies and with this information. You can choose the high road, you can choose the low road. The universe responds to that, or divine, whatever you believe in. This is the weekly edition, so these are the universal lessons. We're all facing them, so do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Dates and times are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. And I'm operating within 1 degree of exact. That makes the transits much more manageable. Especially like last 2 weeks are very overwhelming. A lot going on. Within 1 degree keeps them manageable most of the time. And if I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. And the software that I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus. And another cup of hot beverage. Here in Western New York, it is cold. Even with the furnace in the fireplace, it's still chilly. So these are the weekly transits for the week of January 26th through February 1st. We do have the sun in Capricorn, so improving who you are, self-improvement, always a good thing. The moon sounds busier than it really is. Aries through Leo. On Monday, it will go from Aries into Taurus, I believe on Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday, it'll actually be in Taurus. And it's late Sunday night on February 1st that it enters Leo. So it's actually not as busy as it sounds. What does make this week interesting with the moon is we have the first quarter moon in Aries on Monday. And then on Sunday, we have the full moon in Cancer. So our busy planet for the week actually is the moon. When we get to looking at the actual chart, you'll see like there's nothing happening, but the moon is. Our active planets making transits are both Mercury and Mars, and Okay, that's somebody on the road. And we're still dealing with the transit to Pluto. And our retrograde planets are both Jupiter and Uranus. So let me get this thing out of the way. So this is our weekly overview. And as you can see, anything above the dotted line is a holdover from last week. We're just ending this Saturn sextiling Uranus retrograde, and that ends on Thursday. What are other transits for the week? That's it. Mercury conjunct Pluto, no, Mars conjunct Pluto, and Mercury conjunct Venus. Very quickly, and at the beginning of the week. So it's actually a relatively calm week with transits, which after the last 2 weeks is nice. When you do look at the moon, we do have Aries to Taurus to Gemini, and then Cancer. And then this Leo is actually very late Sunday night. And we do have the full moon in Cancer late Sunday afternoon. And this first quarter moon in Aries is very, very early in the morning. I think it was like 2:24 in the morning or something like that. So overall, a relatively calm week. Do pay attention to your emotional self, your soul. With your moon is, I think it's your soul actually. Do pay attention to that. Pay attention to how you're feeling and follow through on things. Okay, let me get my notes available. There we go. Let me clear. Yeah, still getting over this bug that's going around the school. So back from January 9th, we still have Saturn in Pisces sextiling Uranus retrograde in Taurus. This will end on January 30th, which is this week. And Saturn in Pisces, spiritual maturity, creating an interest in you finding inner peace, inner calm, inner strength. I got ghosts next to me. Head scratch. So look at how spiritual maturity and that self-discipline also, I think that's a very important lesson of Saturn, can help create inner peace and inner strength. I think that's I'm just going to keep it at that. The shadow here, because you can get out of, you can fall, that's the upside, spiritual maturity, providing inner strength, inner calm, you can weather the storms of life. You got a solid foundation. The shadows, Saturn in Pisces, either can be spiritually controlling. I would almost want to say, as an example, religious fundamentalism, or it can be in complete denial of spirit at all. Sextile is a sense of nervousness, and that, instead of creating inner calm and inner peace, Uranus Uranus sells itself out. It sells itself out to fit in, and it's either fitting in with the crowd thing, with some crowd things. So it's either fitting in with the crowd, the mainstream, or it's looking at like the rebels without a cause or a clue and trying to fit in with them. I always use the example, the person who comes into work and they've got the mohawk. Nobody responds to it. Next day, they come in with that same mohawk, but it's colored bright pink or other bright colors. They're people fishing for a reaction from other people. So you're either acting out or selling out. And instead of providing peace and calm, it's the lazy way out, or you're like a bull in a china shop. So that trying to control spirituality in some way is actually destabilizing. And from Sunday, we have the moon in Aries. So emotional time. You're ready to face a challenging situation. You're willing to have courage to take action. And on Monday, we do have the first quarter moon in Aries, and it is at 2:24 a.m. So the moon is what is the trigger here. So the moon in Aries, having courage, learning to have emotional courage. A square is strength. Ideally, it's a challenge that strengthens you. And the sun in Capricorn, the sun is your core identity and doing the work of becoming more of who you are. So these are challenges to your identity that help you to find out who you are at heart and become more of that person. That's the ideal, a better version of yourself. The shadow is falling into fear, and there can be anger or cowardice. The square becomes a stumbling block, and this is a control, and again, it's a kind of a control freak. Um, you're becoming. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I feel like I'm going to sneeze here. The sun is instead of is the false ego. You came here to learn to have a healthy ego, a healthy self identity. This is a false identity, acting out, and in Capricorn, it's micromanaging, trying to control things. It's the control freak in a way, and that can lead to loneliness, the loneliness, isolation, trying to manage everybody else instead of controlling yourself. And so these fears well up, and you try to double down on everything. Let's see what else. And that just reinforces a false identity. And also on Monday, we have Mars conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Mars, learning courage and assertiveness. Pluto, transformation. So this is the courage to change and and Capricorn, to do the work of change and the deep inner transformation. Almost want to be able to say having the courage to face down your fears and grow from that. And how that can help you heal and do that deep inner healing and recover. And also my notes here say recover what was lost, because that's part of the Plutonian journey is it is a deep inner wound, and as you do the work of going through the Pluto journey, you're recovering things that were lost. So it is cold here. So courage to heal, I'd say, on a deep level. The shadow here is falling into fear, and that fuels cynicism and nihilism, and the belief that life is meaningless and empty. And out of that, feelings of loneliness, isolation. That's the hell Capricorn thing there. So falling into fear leaves you feeling alone and isolated, and you're trying to control everything. And in an event, you're controlling nothing. Tuesday, we have Mercury conjunct Venus in Capricorn, the two fast movers in the sky. And Mercury is going to bypass Venus here, actually, in the sky. So Mercury, learning and communication. And with Venus, I like to think of Venus, first of all, it is relationships. So what are you learning about your relationships? How are you communicating in relationships? How are you working to improve that? Venus is also arts and creativity. And I mean, the creative arts, like an art class, also music. I wonder if theater falls in here sometimes, because theater is more of a Leo thing to me. But I think it is actually falls under Venus. But look at your creativity. What are you learning about your creative self? How are you practicing it? How are you improving it? How are you learning to improve your relationships and your communication skills? How are you learning to improve your creativity? Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And the shadow here, Mercury is unfocused and scatterbrained. Venus can be slick and manipulative, or it can be lazy, trying to get other people to do things for it. So being unfocused and distracted, even over analyzing or overthinking everything, leading to shallow and meaningless relationships. Trying to control others with words can make meaningful connection more difficult in the end. Again, you feel isolated and lonely. And even with creativity, plug in a prompt to AI. You didn't create that. It's just something a computer did. Plagiarizing other people's artistic creation and claiming it as your own. That's the shadow. That's another shadow here. But ideally here, the goal is to look at how you're communicating with others. How well are you listening to others as well? I would like to say that. because transiting Mercury, the art of paying attention. How well are you paying attention to your relationships, listening to others, communicating with them, and how can you improve those skills and make them better? And we also have the moon entering Taurus, emotionally, time to calm down, center yourself, find moments of peace throughout the day, and realign yourself emotionally. Walk up to a window and stare out at the wildlife outside, or trees or plants or something. But it's time to build that inner peace, and calm, and take moments of calm, and to remember to take that break. The shadow here, emotionally, Taurus can be lazy, just not doing anything, feeling unmotivated. It can also be the bull in the china shop, acting out, wrecking things. So do be careful of that. Being stubborn or lazy does keep you also caught in a prison of consistency, doing what you did tomorrow, doing the same thing tomorrow because it's what you did yesterday and is what you're doing right now. This can keep you stuck in the past and caught in a rut. Wednesday, aside from the Mars and Mercury transits, nothing new being added on the May of the big 5-ish, 6-ish. So take a break, remember to exhale, repeat. Thursday, we have the moon entering Gemini. Be curious and ask questions and update your information so you have a better understanding of the ideas and what's going on around you. And pay attention emotionally, pay attention to what's going on. I would say this is a time to learn. The shadow here is being distracted, getting caught up in a mental maze, whether you think you know it all, or you can't learn it all. You sell a lot of I think, deception here. But that fuels the distraction and has you missing the point and missing what's going on around you. So distracted that you can't see the forest through the trees. Friday, take a break. Remember to exhale, repeat. Again, none of the major transits. They're probably minor transits, semi-squares, semi-sextiles, inconjunctions, sesquiquadrates. There's a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember them all. I think there's a septile and a novile. None of the major transits that I always cover. Saturday. The moon enters Cancer on the weekend. Take time to be gentle with yourself and heal from the stresses of the week. Open up to those who can help you heal. Opportunities just to pull back, rest, and relax. The shadow here, you can become defensive and whine about life and drive others away. You can also become snippy, or also hiding away leaves you feeling lonely, and any of these shadow things leave you unhealed. Cancer is about nurture and self-care and healing, and I would say a time of emotional rest, time of healing. And if you're falling into the shadow, being defensive, not healing, not resting, you can actually feel more exhausted. Sunday at 1646 Eastern Time, which is 446 in non-military time, we will have the full moon in Cancer. So you have the moon in Cancer, self-care, and an opposition is a time of balance or reflection. And you have the sun in Capricorn, doing self-work. So what you're doing here, you're balancing self-improvement and self-care, or you're reflecting on how you're taking care of yourself. Is what you're learning helping you become a better version of yourself? Know when to work, when to take a break is another way of looking at this. And by doing this can help you with your on the path of self-growth and healing. The shadow here, being driven or defensive, pulls you out of balance. The shadow of an opposition is being pulled out of balance because it's a power struggle. The moon in Cancer wants to pull away and hide away, and the sun in Capricorn wants to keep going and keep doing. So this power struggle that leaves you worn out, wiped out, feeling alone and isolated. And in the end, you accomplish nothing from either side. And late on Sunday, the moon enters Leo. So it's a excuse me, a time of expression and standing up and being seen so you can be appreciated. And by standing up and being seen, it helps others to understand. For them, it helps you to learn how to stand up appropriately and share with others, and it helps others to see what they appreciate about you or what they like about you. So this is an opportunity for you to stand up and be seen. The shadow here is either playing to the crowd or trying to hide away. Hey, Ghost. Want to be on my lap, buddy? How's your eye? Okay. Okay, hold on a second. Let's all appreciate Ghost. This is your kitten commercial. This is Ghost. He's a nice big cat, nice big mouse. Are actually very friendly. He's all gray. And I still call him a kitten. He's a giant kitten. Um, the shadow here is either playing to the crowd and trying to please others or trying to hide away and not be seen. Either way, it's a false projection, and you can turn people away from you or fit in with the wrong people. And that's your week. Actually, nice, calm, and quiet. Apologize if I'm not as energetic as usual, but I'm still getting over this bug. I've been outside shoveling. It is cold outside. So do follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. If you're watching this, it's on YouTube for now. These three companies are making a lot of money off of your data. There's the digital soul space, and you're getting none of it, by the way. Very little if you do get anything. Digital soul space is a online spiritual community where troll-free zone. So I call it a spiritual safe space. There's a troll-free zone. 4 great moderators who do a good job of keeping inappropriate content off the site. There's a free version and there's a paid version. Free version, you do get access to the gathering space and special events. Paid version gets you access to the full site. And I do astrology on there, but there's also crystals, tarot, oracle cards, a wide variety of spiritual practices. People talk about herbalism. Oh gosh, dream interpretation. I mean, you name it, it's on there. Ask a question. People will share what they know. It's an awesome place. It's really fun and friendly. And it's hosted on the Mighty Network, so you get to decide about your data and you get actually a voice in controlling your data. So do like, follow, and share. I do ask astrology readings and I do offer packages. So the readings are the quick 6. If you want to see how your chart changes, I look at 6 key points of the chart. If you want a full birth chart reading, in evolutionary astrology, your chart is who you came here to become. So think of Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits. Begin with the end in mind. It's the path that you're on to becoming your ideal self in this lifetime. So I do offer the birth chart. I offer a karmic chart. That can either be seen as a past life reading or a special lesson, depending on which way you want it read. But there's something that you feel like is holding you back in life, and I help you understand what that is, how you're experiencing it in this lifetime, and then more importantly, just as important is the understanding how you heal it and release it. And then I do the horoscopes. 1 year, which is 12 months in a row, 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And for 1 month, it can be beginning of the month to the end of the month, or new moon to new moon, or moon phase to moon phase, whatever. And then packages, which combine these readings in different ways and have a 10% discount built in. I have 4 different packages available. So thank you very much for watching this. Do like, follow, and share. Go to my website and click on the website. You will find there'll be a pop-up. Give me an email address. You get a newsletter once a week on Sunday evenings, which gives you all this information and some other insights first. And then, okay, not sneezing. That's good. If you miss that, there's a corner, it says subscribe in the upper right-hand corner. Just click on that. And on my website, you will find Through services, you can order readings, and through scheduling, you can also book time or order the packages. And I also have a blog on there that you can see daily updates where I take some of these transits just a little bit deeper. So like, follow, share. Thank you. Sign up for the newsletter. Thank you very much. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Have yourself the best week possible and stay warm.